Good morning. I believe a time is coming when angry mobs will rise up and beat the police to death. I'm not looking forward to those days, and I don't want them to come. But I still believe it's imminent. Because the police are predator bullies. And it'll be tragic. See, shepherds, animal raisers, whatever, people who raise animals for meat, some of them can abuse the animals terribly because they know the animals will never rise up. But people are so different. And if you abuse people, like the police are abusing people, and as the number of people increase who have been abused, there will be, or is, a growing number of people who will not allow it to continue. The Fourth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution was about, I love the way the wording of the Fourth Amendment lays it out. And I can't recall the exact wording, but it has to do with the right of the people to be secure in their houses, papers, and effects. Shall not be denied, or whatever. The right of the people to be secure in their, etc. Well, the Fourth Amendment isn't really there anymore. That was removed in the Patriot Act after the so-called 9/11 tragedy, where a bunch of bad people took down some very tall towers. And I can't believe we allowed that to happen. Fourth Amendment. You know, I don't believe the Congress has the right to suspend an amendment to the Constitution. I don't believe there's a right to suspend a part of the Constitution. That's what amendments are for. If they tried to pass an amendment to the Constitution that would have repealed the Fourth Amendment, I believe all hell would have broken loose from every corner of this country. But they don't do that. They pass little paragraphs to 2,000-page laws. Because our government is nothing but bastards. Ne'er-do-wells. I love the word ne'er-do-wells. Never do they do well. They're so full of themselves. And themselves is shit. And recently, the part of the Patriot Act that suspended the Fourth Amendment was renewed. So they know exactly what they're doing. See, to keep us safe, they've removed our security. The right of the people to be secure. If you want to be secure, install a motion detecting video camera in your home and set it up to email you when it detects motion. You'll get quite a few false alarms, but you can work that out. It has most to do with lighting. Like if you have a curtain blow away from the window because of a draft and the light changes in the room, you'll get a false alarm. Because it's not really motion detecting, it detects changes in the picture, and a lighting change is a change. So once you eliminate the false alarms, it's really very reliable. But that's the only way you'll be secure in your own home anymore. My insecurity really began when I noticed what my government was doing. But it was made more permanent when they came into my home without telling me, and they weren't going to tell me. Fortunately, by then, I had installed a motion detecting camera, and it did email me. But that is not a true blessing, because it also allowed me to see that my security was gone. So that's why I believe at some point they're going to build a crowd of critical mass that will come and beat them to death. They believe we are sheep. Sheep that they can kick in the face, that they can taser, that they can surround, intimidate, strip. They believe they are gods. They believe they can feel up our children at an airport just because we bought a ticket. They believe many things. Re-education is what they believe in. Well, re-education is what they'll get. I personally will do nothing. I will not cause harm to anybody. The harm will come, unfortunately, when the system decides that we are their property. I believe that decision has already been made. Our governments all over the world apparently see us as their property. But consider this analogy. You buy a house, and if you don't take care of the house, it kills you. It'll burn down in the middle of the night while you sleep, and you will die. That is what property is. So if you see us, the governments of the planet, see us all as property, consider the house that you purchased, the house that you own, that you don't maintain. You will burn down in the middle of the night and die. governments. There's a line probably attributed to a founder. When the people fear the government, there's tyranny. When the government fears the people, there's freedom, or there's liberty. I'm not sure that's entirely true, however, because I believe the line should be altered to read, when the government respects the people, there's liberty. Because apparently this government fears us to the point where it is doing whatever it can to safeguard themselves from us. So when the people fear the government, there's tyranny. When the government fears the people, there's increased tyranny. When the government respects the people, there's liberty. The U.S. Constitution was something designed to eliminate the human factor from our lives. The insane, did you get that? The insane ramblings of the human mind that allow a dictator to kill 1 million or 60 or 80 million of their own people, as in China. The insane ramblings of a dirty mind. You start out as a kind, benevolent ruler, and as you age and go through your own hardships, your losses, your mind warps, and suddenly this formerly kind person becomes evil, and his citizens reap the whirlwind of a brutal man or a woman. That's why the U.S. Constitution was special. We are not ruled by a man. We're not ruled by a person. We are ruled by ideas that are written for everyone to see. Our government sees them also. People in government see the Constitution also. It's an easy document to read. It's not very large. They've done their best to transform the Constitution into their liking over the years, but they really couldn't go as far as they wanted. I mean, what is the 16th Amendment income tax? If you read that 16th Amendment, they have there's no limits on their there is no limit in the 16th Amendment as to the amount of income they can take. Plus, there seems to be evidence out there that the 16th Amendment wasn't really ratified properly. But a corrupt government can make up any story, and a trusting people will believe them. A noble government should be trusted to a point. Because if you trust a noble government completely, oh man, you're just given a coupon for corruption. A coupon for evil to come in. Besides the 16th Amendment, I'm particularly amazed that the 26th Amendment could be ratified. 26th Amendment reduced the voting age down to 18. What a tremendous mistake that was. I was a little boy in 1971 when that passed. And I remember the debate over the 26th Amendment. It was... people were going around saying, well, if you're young enough to fight for this country, you're young enough to vote. Flawed logic. Should never have been listened to. Why? Because wisdom is a quality we wish to encourage in voters. We don't want if I have to explain that line, that you don't have wisdom and you shouldn't be voting. Young people have many good qualities, but the attribute of wisdom comes only with aging and experience. Now, many were saying that if you've been to war, you've had experience. No, you've had a certain type of experience, but it didn't give you wisdom. And many people who were 18 did not go to war, and they were allowed to vote also. Perhaps if the amendment had said anyone who had served in the military would be allowed to vote, perhaps, because, well, I guess they have had certain life experience that many people haven't, and so, okay, I'm willing to go that far. But to blanketly say that all 18-year-olds, I mean, at the time, my brothers were 17 and 18 years old. And compared to the people older to them, I did not see wisdom in them. And as a little boy, it confused me that they were debating allowing my brothers to vote. So over time, tyrants or people with bad intentions towards my country have added to the Constitution bad things. And by the way, yes, I would favor repealing the 26th Amendment and the 16th Amendment. Or at least putting limits on the 16th Amendment so they can't, literally, they are constitutionally allowed to tax us 2,000% of our income. And that's what they're doing right now. They're taxing us 1,000,000% of our income. Unlimited percentage of our income. When you consider quantitative easing, I love their bullshit. Quantitative easing, you know, is quite good for the economy. It'll put everyone out of work, move all of our jobs overseas, and cause massive riots on the streets. So as you can see, quantitative easing is quite all what we need, yes? Hip hip, ha ha. As the bankers have their tea and the children go off and pee. And we watch the Queen marry her children off. Peep peep, ho ho. Constitution is gone now. And even those things that we did not amend was changed by interpretation. I liked that lady who ran for Senate in one of the southwestern states, who went in front of the law college, I don't remember which school, and where she was given a question about separation of church and state, and she responded, "Where does the Constitution say that?" And everyone laughed, because they were taught, as most people have been taught, that the First Amendment says separation of church and state.
Recalculating.
But that is not what the First Amendment says.
500 feet, then take ramp to I-80 West. Take ramp to I-80 West.
Thank you. Of course, many people know that. But it was fascinating that an entire law college of students studying law were ignorant of that. So that is an amendment of the Constitution that had been amended through interpretation. In other words, our right to amend the Constitution was overridden through interpretation. Wow. Where does that right come from? Our right to have the Fourth Amendment is amended by the Congress? Where the hell did that come from? This is the stuff that civil wars are made of. And believe me, I'm not advocating a civil war, but the government should fear us.
Continue 5.1
to the point where they respect us.
Take exit 397 on right to US 77 South.
The government should fear us to the point where they start respecting us again. The government should fear us to the point where they stop seeing us as cash cows. The government should fear us to the point where we don't have to fear them. By the way, I guess all these segments are by the ways, but when a police officer stops you for a traffic violation, or just because they want to, when they do that and they walk up to my window with their hand on their gun, they instantly make themselves my enemy. They are poised and ready to kill me, which makes them my enemy. And every day when they stop, how many people do all the police in this country, around the world, stop in traffic violations, or just because they want to? And when they walk up to these thousands and thousands of cars everywhere, every day, with their hand poised on their gun, ready to kill you, they become the enemy of every person they stop. I know we're supposed to sit here like sheep and allow them to kill us, and then they can call it suicide by cop all they fucking want to. maybe they should realize that their intimidation is creating the army that will come back and beat them to death. Again, I don't wish to cause harm to anybody. It is not rational to assume that this will continue as people put their hands down our children's pants at airports. I was wondering, what will it look like when angry mobs start beating police to death? The LA riots after Rodney King, after the verdict, which was a situation driven mad by a carnival media coverage. And I don't know if that was the first time the media became carnival, but that was the most irresponsible thing I can remember. But the LA riots afterwards were not organized. At least I don't think so. They may have been organized at a certain level, but chaos is not organizable. Yes, that's a word. Organizable. But anger and resolve in the hands of people who have been tormented to a level that they cannot tolerate anymore will result in tactical strikes back at those who have beaten them down. In other words, it'll be a war the people didn't start. This war was first started when the government saw us as sheep. This war is something I hope never to see. I'm tempted to say things I dare not, because my government